Hey guys, Andy here, and I'm with all my friends today. And I have a fantastic story to tell you, and all my friends are going to help as well. Now, before I start, I need to introduce you to one of my friends. It's Ralph, Ralph the monkey. And Ralph and I went to a school, and the story I'm going to tell you today is the story we told at the school. And something amazing happened while I was telling that story. And I'm going to tell you at the end of the story what happened. Okay? Right. Let's get on with the story. Ralph, I need you to just go and sit over there. Thank you. Now you be quiet because we're going to tell all the children this story. And this story comes all the way from South Africa. And a wonderful storyteller by the name of Nina Mashlope told me the story, and I'm going to tell it and share it with you today. And this story begins where a Zulu grandmother walks out of her house. And her house was not like a house built of bricks or wood. It was made out of straw. It was like a hut. And when she walked out of her hut, there next to her hut was a tree stump, a round tree stump. And she sat down on the tree stump and she looked in front of her, and there in front of her were all the children and quite a few adults sitting around waiting for her. You see, she was the storyteller of the village, of the tribe. And they had come to listen to her tell a story. And one little girl, right in the very front, she put up her hand and she said, Gogo. Now, Gogo means grandmother. It's Zulu for grandmother. And everybody called her Gogo because she was the best at telling stories. And she smiled and she said, okay. And she started the story with the word KwaSukusukela, which means once upon a time. Now, it's a Zulu rule, it's a Zulu custom that if you start a story with once upon a time or KwaSukusukela, you have to carry on. It's like starting a formula. It's like starting a recipe. You can't just start it and then walk away and expect it to be done. Oh, no. So the Zulu people would say, the people sitting in the audience, they would reply back. When someone said KwaSukusukela, when someone said once upon a time, they would reply with Kozi Semfika and Gogozwana, which means, and now we shall put her in a small pot. Put Gogo in a small pot. Well, you see, she was stuck, wasn't she? If you're going to be in a small pot, you're stuck. You can't go anywhere. And that's exactly what the audience, all the children and the adults wanted. They wanted Gogo to carry on. She was not going anywhere. She had to tell the story. So Gogo smiled and she said, okay. A long, long time ago, so long ago, when people lived in little villages all around the world, there was one particular little village right by the sea. Now, in this village lived a lady by the name of Mazanandaba, but all her friends called her Mazzy. And Mazzy lived with her husband Zenkili and her 3 children. And the children would have a lovely time. They would play with all the other children. They would go down and play in the sea sand or swim in the sea. They would catch fish. They would bring fish back and they'd cook it for lunch or cook it for dinner. Or they would go playing in the forest and chase monkeys or eat some fruit from the trees. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? You would think they were really happy. Well, they were very happy. But you see, at night time, when they would sit and gather around the fire and look up at the stars in the sky, the children would say, Mama, tell us a story. And Mazzy would go, I don't know any stories. And this would make Mazzy sad. And she said to Zenkili, we need stories. And Zenkili He was a very good problem solver, and he always came up with good ideas. And Zinkili, he made the most amazing things. If he saw a bird flying in the sky, he would get a piece of wood and a stone, and he would carve out and shape out that bird into that piece of wood. Or perhaps he saw an animal, perhaps he saw a lion or an elephant, and he would do exactly the same. So he knew the animals well, and he said to Mazzy, Mazzy, why don't you go and ask the animals? They may be able to tell you where stories come from. Ah, brilliant idea, said Mazzy. So the next day, Mazzy packed some lunch and off she went into the forest. And it didn't take her very long before she came to a stream, or actually it was more of a river. And there in the river she saw an animal floating with its beady eyes above the water. It was long. What do you think it was? Oh, yes, you are absolutely correct. It was a crocodile. And this crocodile was floating on the water. Oh, waiting for his breakfast, no doubt. Floating, floating, floating. And Mazzy went up to the crocodile and said, Sawubona, Mr. Crocodile. And the crocodile went, oh, Sawubona, Mazzy. Oh, Mr. Crocodile, I need your help. I don't suppose you know where I can find stories from. Stories? Oh, I know a story. Oh, you know a story, said Mazzy. Yes. I'm going to eat you. How about that for a story? Now, if a crocodile says it's going to eat you, what would you do? What would you do? Absolutely, you would run away, wouldn't you? So Mazzy would, wah! And she ran off. And the crocodile, well, he just, he made a grumble noise. Can you make a grumble noise for me? And he went and he carried on, floating on the water, waiting for his next breakfast victim to come along. So Mazzy carried on, and she was walking along a path in between the trees when something came slithering down the branches and stopped right in front of her. It was, what do you think it was? It was indeed a snake. Sawubona, Mrs. Snake. Sawubona, Mazzy. Mrs. Snake, I need your help. I need stories, said Mazzy. Stories? Said Mrs. Snake. I don't know any stories. I am very shy, she said. And with that, she just slithered her down into the bush and went away. Oh, Mazzy was disappointed. That's another one that she didn't get a story from. But she carried on. And she carried on, and she was walking amongst the trees when what do you think she saw? A tall animal, a very tall animal, eating leaves right at the very top of the tree. And then she looked and, oh, what do you think she saw next to this tall giraffe? A little giraffe, a baby giraffe. And the mummy giraffe was eating all the leaves and the berries and dropping them down on the ground. And the baby giraffe was eating all the berries and the leaves on the ground. And the giraffe, look at his mouth, was all really enjoying the leaves. And can you do that actually with your mouth? Can you go, just like the giraffe? Oh, really enjoying the leaves. The best leaves are right at the very top of the tree. Anyway, Mazzy went to Mrs. Giraffe and said, Mrs. Giraffe, oh, 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 Sawubona, Sawubona. Hello, Mazzy. Mrs. Giraffe, I need stories. Oh, stories? Stories? Well, oh, you want stories? Yes, said Mazzy. We don't have stories and I need a story. Where can I get stories from? Ooh, well, said Mrs. Giraffe, if you go down to the watering hole, you might find an animal there, and he may know where you can get stories from. Inkiabonga, thank you, said Mazzy. And off Mazzy went, and the little baby giraffe and the mummy giraffe carried on eating the leaves and the berries that were falling on the ground. Oh. And Mazzy carried on walking, and she came to the watering hole. And there in the watering hole was a big grey animal. A big grey animal with a big long grey nose and big ears. Oh yes, you were absolutely correct. It was an elephant, and the elephant was spraying water with his big trunk and spraying it. Psh, psh. Can you do that? Can you take your arm and stick it to your nose and pretend that you're sucking water and spraying it? Psh, psh. Oh. No, Mr. Elephant, no! Oh, hello, Mazzy. Mr. Elephant. Sawubona, Mazzy. Yes, Sawubona, Mr. Elephant. But I need your help, said Mazzy. Please, I'm looking for stories. Where can I get stories? Stories? And the elephant took his trunk and he was tapping his mouth as though he was thinking, Meet me tomorrow down by the beach. And with that, the elephant turned away and carried on spraying water. And Mazzy went home, and she told Zenkili exactly what the elephant had said, to meet her tomorrow down by the beach. Mazzy was so excited she couldn't sleep that night. You know, when you're really excited, it's hard to sleep, isn't it? But the next morning she went down, and there was the elephant standing looking out at the sea. And Mazzy went and she stood next to the elephant and she looked out. And the elephant took his trunk and he just pointed straight out to sea as though he was pointing. And Mazzy looked, and she looked in the distance. And what do you think she saw? She saw an animal jumping out of the waves and going under. Jumping out of the waves and going down and under. Have you guessed what it is? Absolutely. It was a dolphin. A dolphin jumping out of the waves and in. And the dolphin came right up to the beach. And Mazzy said, Sawubona, dolphin. Sawubona, said the dolphin. Sawubona. Hello, Mazzy. Climb onto my back. And with that, Mazzy climbed onto the back of the dolphin, and off they went out to sea. And Mazzy looked back, and she couldn't see the beach. She couldn't see anything. And she was scared. And the dolphin said, Don't be afraid, but I need you to hold your breath. We are going down. Now I need you to take a deep breath for me. Can you do that? Because we're going underwater. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And the dolphin went down, 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 down. And Mazzy was holding on the back. Down, down, down they went. And the dolphin was shouting, Chumba, blue, blue, blue. Can you shout that for me? Chumba, blue, blue, blue. And the dolphin went down, 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 right to the very bottom of the sea floor. And the dolphin said to Mazzy, You can breathe now. And Mazzy thought, What kind of magic is this? What kind of magic is this that I can breathe? And then she heard something. What is that? What is that? She said to the dolphin. That is music. Oh, music. I want music too. I want music and I want stories. And then Mazzy looked around and she saw something quite incredible. She saw shimmering lights. She saw shimmering shapes. She saw eyes in these shimmering shapes and shimmering lights. And she said to the dolphin, who are they? And the dolphin said, they are the spirits of the ocean. And they will take us to meet the king and the queen of the ocean. And so Mazzy and the dolphin floated along with the spirits of the ocean to go and meet the king and the queen. And Mazzy met the king and the queen. And the king and the queen were lovely. They were also beautiful, colourful shapes and shimmering lights and bright, beautiful eyes. And Mazzy, she said to them, I'm looking for stories. And they said, we will give you stories. But in return, we need a gift. We would like a picture of your people and your animals from your land. We cannot go onto land, so we do not know what your animals look like. Mazzy had an idea. She climbed back onto the back of the dolphin and she said to the king and the queen, I will be back. And off she went. And the dolphin swam back and it was excited because it knew that they were close to finding stories. And the dolphin was shouting again, Chumba, blue, 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 Chumba, blue, blue, blue. And the dolphin went up, 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 back to the beach. When Mazzy got to the beach, she jumped off and she ran and she was shouting, Zinkili, Zinkili! And Zinkili came running and she explained to Zinkili what the king and the queen had asked for. Can you remember what they had asked for? That's right, a gift, a picture of their people and all the animals from the land. And Zinkili knew what he had to do. He went into the forest and he got a nice big piece of wood and he got a stone and he carved out, he made all the shapes of the faces of all the people that lived in the village. And he did the same for all the animals. Can you remember the animals that Mazzy saw? The crocodile, yes. The giraffe, the elephant, and the snake. Yes, the snake as well. And when Mazzy looked at this picture, she smiled. It was beautiful. This is perfect. Ngiyabonga. Thank you, she said to Zinkili. And Mazzy went back down to the beach. And there, floating in the waves, the dolphin was waiting for Mazzy. And Mazzy climbed back onto the back of the dolphin, and the dolphin swam out to sea. Mazzy wasn't as scared this time, but the dolphin said to Mazzy again, take a deep breath, we are going down. So I need you to take a deep breath again for me. Will you do that? All right, ready? And the dolphin went down, shouting, Chumba, blue, 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 Chumba, blue, blue, blue. Back down to the bottom of the sea floor. And Mazzy heard the music again. And she knew that she would be able to breathe. And she saw the shimmering shapes and the shimmering lights in the eyes of the spirits of the ocean. And so Mazzy and the dolphin, they followed the spirits of the ocean to the king and the queen again. And Mazzy came before the king and the queen and she gave them the gift of the picture, the wooden picture that Zinkili had made. And the king and the queen were so happy that they started to shine brighter than the sun. Absolutely amazing. And they said to Mazzy, we will give you the gift of stories. And they gave Mazzy the magic story shell. The magic story shell. And what she had to do was hold it to her ear, and she would be able to hear the sound of the sea, and she would hear a story. And she took the gift of the magic story shell, and she said, Sa. And she took the gift of the story shell, and she said, Ngiyabonga, thank you. Hambani Gashle, travel safely, said the king and the queen. And Mazzy climbed back on to the back of the dolphin, and they swam back. And the dolphin was again so excited for Mazzy, he shouted, Chumba blue, 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 chumba blue, blue, blue. And the dolphin arrived back at the beach, and Mazzy got off the beach, holding the story shell, and she started to sing. Come down to the beach, come down and listen. Come down to the beach, come down everyone. Come down to the beach, the sun is now setting. Come down to the beach, a story I will share. She was so excited. And all the animals came down. And they all sat around the fire. And all the people arrived. And they saw all these animals. And they were like, goodness me. And they were sitting amongst the animals. And Mazzy made a big fire. And then, just when everyone was settled down, she took the magic story shell and she held it to her ear. And she told the first story with the words, once upon a time, or, as you know in Zulu, kwasukusukela. And that is the story of Mazanandaba and the first story. I hope you enjoyed it. You did? Fantastic! Can you give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it? Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. Now, I did say to you that I was going to tell you something quite special, didn't I? About when Ralph and I... Ralph, can you come over here quickly? Thank you. Right. So Ralph and I went to the school. We told the story. And something beautiful happened. This little girl kept coming up and handing me a piece of paper and saying, this is for your monkey. It was for Ralph, but she didn't know Ralph's name. And I said, thank you very much. And when I was telling the story again, she came up and she handed me another piece of paper. And she said, this is for your monkey. And I said, oh, okay, thank you. And right towards the end, she came up again. And she came up this time with her teaching assistant, with her teacher. And the teacher said to me, Autumn, that was her name, Autumn wants you to open the piece of paper. And I said, silly me, I'm so sorry. The piece of paper was folded up. Well, she gave me 3 pieces of paper. And they were all folded up. And so I stopped and I opened it up. Would you like to see one of the pieces of paper opened up? You do? Okay. Ralph, can you just quickly just sit over there while I just show everyone? Now, when I opened up this piece of paper, I saw what Autumn was doing. And she was drawing a picture of what was inside her head, what she was seeing inside her head when I was telling the story. And there you can see the dolphin, and you can see Mazzy, and you can see some fish, and you can see the spirits of the ocean, and of course you can see the beautiful sun up in the sky. And that is why storytelling is so amazing. Because if I asked you to draw a picture, your picture would be absolutely correct, because it would be what you are seeing inside your head. So you guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. So it's bye-bye from me, Andy Cops, and all my friends. We will see you again soon. I'm going to be telling stories inside, outside, who knows where. But so many stories are on their way. Now I need your help. Can you ask a grown-up to follow me on Instagram or on Facebook? Instagram at Andy Cops, or Facebook andycops.uk. And also you can go on YouTube and you can find me there, Andy Cops. All right, I hope you are well, stay safe, and I hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye-bye, bye, bye-bye. Yes.